Kakadosh Boker Tov. We're just continuing with the halachot of halakat nerot. Siman Samach Gimel is speaking about now Kabbalat Shabbat ubracha ba'ish amalik nerot, which means that let's say, for example, a man has to light the candles. Whether it is that he's going to be that he's single, whether it's going to be the widower, whether it's going to be that the wife is somewhere else where right now he has to light the candles. How does he do it? So it says over here that even according to the Minhag Ashkenazim, that a woman would accept upon herself Shabbat during the time of Halakat Nerot. They also agree that if a man would light the candles, he does not accept upon himself Shabbat, which means that a man would be able to light the candles and then go in a car and go to the Bet HaKnesset without any problem whatsoever. Now, even according to their Minhag, here the man would first make the bracha and then he would light the candles, which means that even though usually the Minhag Ashkenazim we know, and also there's the Moroccan Minhag as well, and there's a Minhag also by many others as well, many other adot, that what they used to do was they first used to light the candles and then make a bracha. In this case, since it's the man that's doing it, first he makes a bracha and then he will come and he will light the candles. Now what about Kabbalat Shabbat? So it's actually brought down that, again, usually when the woman is going to come and accept upon herself Shabbat, even her family members, which means her children, which are samuch on the table of their parents, they do not accept upon themselves Shabbat with that. Which means that even though she lit the candles, she could still have one of the children go and they would be able to come and start, whether it's doing a melacha or doing other things. Why? Because the Kabbalat Shabbat doesn't exist. This actually applies, by the way, there's a big machloket. What about is the woman go after the husband? So there's actually a big machlok the poskim, and we go lekula like the Rav Osner, that for example, let's say this Shabbat or every single Shabbat in the summertime, what do we have? We have that the men come to the Bet HaKnesset. Let's say you're coming to the early minyan. So you come to the early minyan, it's a plaga mincha. So they're coming, they're doing the mincha, they're doing Kabbalat Shabbat. Remember that according to Sfaradim, you only accept upon yourself Shabbat by Mizmor Shil Yom HaShabbat. You're not accepting it in any other time, that's when you're accepting it. Or according to the Kabbalah, Bui Kala, which is around 30 seconds before, not more than that. So what happens is that the question is, does your wife, that she's at home, is she nigrara charecha, which means does she go after you? Because since you came to the early minyan, and you already did Shabbat, so therefore, is she nigrara after you or not? So the psak is that since you're doing it for logistics and not because it's halacha, which means you're going to the early minyan because you want to come home, you want to have an early meal, you want that the children should be around, so therefore the halacha states that there's no problem whatsoever. Why? Because since you're doing it just for that, and you're not doing it because it's halacha that you're accepting upon yourself Shabbat, you just want it because it's just much easier for you. So therefore, in such a case, she is not going after you, which means that she could still come afterwards and she could light the candles whenever she wants. Obviously, if you remember in the past, we did mention that by the time you go into the house, she should already light the candles and accept upon herself Shabbat. However, though, mitzad halacha, she could continue doing melacha afterwards. So the same halacha would apply that for your children, even though she comes and she lights the candles, the children do not go after her, which means that she could still come. The children would be able to come and do a melacha right afterwards. If you remember, we did mention, just like we mentioned on Yom Ha'atzmaut, and we mentioned this last year, right, that Rav Ovadia, even though he did tell it of David Yosef, that in his Bet HaKnesset they should do tacharunim on Yom Ha'atzmaut, that he said if there's machlokot, so on and so forth, so that's why we adopted over here always to do a siyum in order to get out of any problems. On Yom Yerushalayim, Rav Ovadia was always teaching everybody that they should not do tacharunim. They wouldn't do Hallel either, but they would not do tacharunim. And that's why obviously, again, it's a very important day, right, that we actually thank HaKadosh Baruch Hu that we were given back, whether it's going to be Makom HaMikdash and the Kotel and all the other places of Yerushalayim, that B'ezrat Hashem, He should completely give us a speedily redemption, B'ezrat Hashem, in the future.